Swadika. Today we are going to say some pronouns, helping verbs and contractions. We are going to say 4 kinds of pronouns. First we will say the subjects, then we will say the objects. Then we are going to say the possessive pronouns, for example, my plus noun, which is book. Then we are going to say the possessive pronouns without the noun. So first we will now say the subjects. I, you, they, we, he, she, it. Now we will say the object. Me, you, them, us, him, her, it. Now we will say the possessive pronouns with the noun. My, our, your, their, his, her, its. Finally, we are going to say the possessive pronouns without the noun. Mine, ours, yours, theirs, his, hers, its. Here are 24 helping verbs. Is, am, are, was, were, do, does, did, has, have, had, can, could, may, might, will, would, shall, should, must, need, dare, ought, used to. Contractions. I am, I'm, I am not, I'm not, I'm not, I was not, I wasn't, I wasn't. You are, you're, you are not, you aren't, you aren't. You were not, you weren't, you weren't. They are, there, there. They are not, they aren't, they aren't. They were not, they weren't, they weren't. We are, we're. We are not, we aren't, we aren't. We were not, we weren't, we weren't. He is, he's. He is not, he isn't, he isn't. He was not, he wasn't, he wasn't. She is, she's. She is not, she isn't, she isn't. She was not, she wasn't, she wasn't. It is, it's, its. It is not, it isn't, it isn't. It was not, it wasn't, it wasn't. Some words have two different ways of saying the contractions, like you are not becomes you aren't, or you're not. They are not becomes they aren't, or they're not. We are not becomes we aren't, or we're not. He is not becomes he isn't, or he's not. She is not becomes she isn't, or she's not. It is not becomes it isn't, or it's not. Contractions. I do not, I don't, I don't. I did not, I didn't, I didn't. You do not, you don't, you don't. You did not, you didn't, you didn't. They do not, they don't, they don't. They did not, they didn't, they didn't. We do not, we don't, we don't. We did not, we didn't, we didn't. He does not, he doesn't, he doesn't. He did not, he didn't, he didn't. She does not, she doesn't, she doesn't. She did not, she didn't, she didn't. It does not, it doesn't, it doesn't. It did not, it didn't, it didn't. Contractions. I have, I've, I've. I have not, I haven't, I haven't. I had not, I hadn't, I hadn't. You have, you've, you've. You have not, you haven't, you haven't. You had not, you hadn't, you hadn't. They have, they've, they've. They have not, they haven't, they haven't. They had not, they hadn't, they hadn't. We have, we've, we've. We have not, we haven't, we haven't. We had not, we hadn't, we hadn't. He has, he's, he's. He has not, he hasn't, he hasn't. He had not, he hadn't, he hadn't. She has. She's. She's. She has not. She hasn't. She hasn't. She had not. She hadn't. She hadn't. It has. It's. It's. It has not. It hasn't. It hasn't. It had not. It hadn't. It hadn't. Is not. Isn't. Was not. Wasn't. Are not. Aren't. Were not. Weren't. Do not. Don't. Did not. Didn't. Does not. Doesn't. Must not. Mustn't. Might not. Mightn't. Need not. Needn't. Should not. Shouldn't. Would not. Wouldn't. Will not. Won't. We would. We had. We'd. They would. They had. They'd. We are. We were. We're. There is. There has. Theirs. That is. That has. That's. She is. She has. She's. He is. He has. He's. It is. It has. It's. I would. I should. I had. I'd. He would. He should. He had. He'd. She would. She should. She had. She'd. Thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment on this video. ขอบคุณค่ะ